Right, what a lovely morning right from Arua City. You're most welcome to the KOKOLIRIKO live show, the first show on West Nile TV, and it is a Wednesday, the 22nd day into the month of May. We are just left with about 8 days, that is to wind up with the month, that is of May. I really want to ask maybe how ready are you, that is for the next month, because the month is also now, this month of May surely is coming to an end. That means so many issues really could be lingering in your minds, maybe in terms of the plans that you laid at the beginning of the year, those that you have achieved. For those who have achieved any, you must also really thank God, and we say congratulations to you. And for those who are yet to also really achieve, because we are still left with so many days, but that shouldn't be maybe a source of also really for you to a source of maybe a point for you to also really relax in there. But what we are saying is we must make sure that we honor what we call our hard work. And yesterday we were actually for a meeting that is of religious leaders, also really that is also in Arua City here. That is also really where they were called upon to instill values, and this is also really to help address the concerns we are having today, the issues of that is theft, and also really other bad issues that have been happening that is society, and they have been called upon now to embrace what we call the fight against instilling that is values, because really somebody who values society, somebody who loves society definitely will be the one that actually should be the one to protect the country. Because if you look at the corrupt, it has been also alleged that they are the ones that don't have values, because the values must be instilled right from the right from homes, and then also already from worship centers, because it is a fight also that is of mindset. Because if you really look at the mind and how and who are the doctors of mindset, definitely it is the gynecologists and also really and the psychiatrists, and also really those who are in worship centers, because they preach, and what they preach is usually taken as the gospel, the gospels, and also as the truth in most cases by the people. And that is why, if at all we prepare them very well, we may also really not see them engage in bad practices. And that is also really why they were called upon to also really embrace what we call also really the fight, that is to instill values in society, because they have to also really continue telling people that what they are doing is very bad. I will be giving you more details on that, but now let's look at a story here that is already where 5 MPs, at least 5 MPs, are threatening to move a motion that is to impeach the 3 Mpuga and the 3 commissioners of what we call the service award in there. And this is also a story that we are seeing here, and that means that also really Matthias Mpuga's rules are not yet also really settling in there. That means also really that the commissioners definitely shall be also really maybe not well in there. But really, when shall we put an end to this matter? Because ever since this year began, we have been talking about the same case over and over again. But really, when shall we see an end at that also really? And now we are seeing at least 5 members of parliament have launched a motion that is to impeach the 4 commissioners of parliament also already who allegedly shared that is shillings 1.7 billion amongst themselves as also already service awards in there. And these are things also already that have not been well with some people. And the 4 commissioners who are targeted in the consensus motion include that Matthias Mpuga, who is the MP from that is Nyendo Mkungwe. We have Esther Foyochan, that is from Zombo, that is the Zombo woman MP, and also as well we do have that is Solomon Sirwanyi Bukoli, who is also the central MP, who is Solomon Sirwanyi, sorry, who is the MP for Bukoli Central, and not forgetting that is Prosi Mbabaza Kampurira, who is the MP for Rubanda, who is also the woman MP for Rubanda in there. And these are also things that we are seeing on the past morning, and they're also really where I must also say this matter is taking long, and really when shall we see an end to it? And that is already something that which would to me be very, very well. And according to the champions motion, the champions of the motion, that is already Theodore Sechkubo, who is the Luemiaga County MP in there, and Sarah Opendi, the one from Tororo woman MP, and also really as well as Patrick Insabo Shabe, who is the MP for that is Kasanda North, and not forgetting York Alioni Odria, that is from Aringa South, are the ones who have say the commissioners have been enough, also really have been given enough time that's also to resign by themselves in vain, and hence the decisions to mobilize the fellow legislators also to have them out through what we call a censor motion. But really, is that the right way to go? And really, if at all they took the monies, why don't we, instead of also really maybe wanting to ask them, why don't we ask for the monies back? Really, if you look at the 1.7 billion, this is really quite a huge amount, and this is taxpayers' money. If at all the truth, it may be that these people got the money not through the right channels, then definitely what can we do to recover the money instead of us just fighting definitely like that? Why don't we think of recovering the money first of all? Because we want to say that the money, which is 1.7 billion, is actually some huge amount, which would actually put a classroom block in a school, maybe in Power, and also maybe a health center 3, perhaps in Terego, or maybe a health center 4, because this money is quite huge. But really, how do we and make sure that taxpayers' money is not wasted and just go like that, because we are talking about this money. But really, why don't we think, or instead of first of all recovering the money, let them refund the money if at all they took the money maybe not through the right channels. But really, we have often seen government also really we have also seen some people defending them, saying that this money was obtained through the right channel and there's no crime that these people committed. But really, why is that some legislators are taking long also over this same matter? Because recently we did see also the National Unity Platform Party are coming out to also ask their own, that is Matthias Mpuga, to resign, and which matter has not been handled to me in the best way, because we are seeing now some people actually saying that they are not having a place that is now for some people in Masaka, following also the same matter, which I believe also contributed partly to it. And that is why we are saying this matter must now be addressed, because it's not no longer a matter that is of internal interest, because some people also thought this is a matter of internal interest. But we are seeing this matter also really drawing attention of now some people outside, and it has reached Parliament, and now this is only where some legislators are now also really questioning and also talking about the same matter. And if you really also see what the public space is saying about the same matter, you will be able to realize that people are sharing different opinions, and this is really where the matter has drawn mixed reactions, with some also really in support, with others also really still in condemnation. And that is why we are saying this matter also really needs to be addressed quickly and timely, because if at all this matter is not addressed, then definitely we may see so many of these matters also really getting out of hand. And that is why we are saying the legislators have also really further urged that the impeachment of the 4 commissioners would also restore what we call public trust in the institution of Parliament, and that is why they need to also really do that. And that is one thing that really I feel and needs to be also addressed quickly in there. And according that, this is the time to say that the evasion of public funds, also for personal agreements or personal interest, is also really very, very bad. And that is why they are asking these colleagues to resign. And the 4 commissioners came into the public spotlight at the start of this year, following the reports also that as they sat and also shared shillings, 1.7 billion Ugandan shillings as service award in there. And according to the reports, the former leader of opposition in Parliament, that's Matthias Mpuga, also obtained 500 million, as his colleagues also only bagged 400 million each in there. And the colleagues I mentioned to you earlier, who are also affiliated to the National Resistance Movement Party in there. And Mr. Opendi, who is one of those also really sending the censor motion, at the general public also to follow and ensure that the legislator rally behind this matter for public interest. And that is why we are saying we are following up on this matter. We do not know when exactly it will be able to come to an end. And in joinder, Mr. Nsamba emphasized that I feel bad about every time I see this gentleman and lady, and also around, for instance, Matthias Mpuga, nope, also you hold the service award in this tomorrow, but you continue to masquerade as a commission. And I am happy that now we are going to move together. It is no longer a matter that is of National Unity MPs, but all the MPs in there. And this is what the colleague did also extend. And earlier this year, the president also of National Unity Platform, that's Matthias Mpuga, if you remember, also asked, that is Matthias Mpuga, also to also step aside in there, and which also something that which to me also didn't go on well. And I really believe, as you, the viewer, also this matter to you must also really not go on well, because for somebody who is against also fights, you have to realize that this matter actually exposed the internal fights that's within the National Platform Party, where party principal, that's Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, common known as Bobby Wine, also asked this MP, that's from Nyenda Nkungwe, also to step aside in there as service commissioner, because they definitely also really didn't go on well. And this is also really the same gentleman who is the deputy president, also really, that is for that's Masaka in the for deputy central Buganda in there. That is only where we are saying this matter needs to be addressed timely, because if at all this matter is not maybe handled quickly, we may see this matter also going on. But really, as the viewer, what do you think about it? Definitely you should also really share your opinions. You can just drop it via our comment sections on Facebook, and maybe those of you watching us on Twitter, which is also now known as X, you can still drop your comments in there. For those who have our WhatsApp numbers, drop it on the platform there, and I will be also able to also go through it, because we want to see how best can we also address this matter here, because this matter is now is not only becoming a matter of also parliament interest alone. We also have to also talk about the same matter, because be it directly or indirectly, we are still affected also as a result of the act that happened at parliament. And this is also really where we are saying we still also have to understand understand also draw means and also really avoid certain activities of this caliber from happening. And not for convicted by the Speaker's explanation, Mr. Kyagulanyi Ssentamu later dropped Mr. Mpuga as his deputy president. That's for Central Buganda, where he also really said something has created tension which within the leading opposition political party, and that is also really something we are seeing today, where the rift also really amongst the political opposition groups is also really showing something. I don't know what that means, but we are yet following up on, and we do understand this will have an implication that is in the coming general election, which is not very far from now, because we are just left with about 18 months, that is to the next general elections. And I really want to say maybe how prepared are these political parties also for this forthcoming exercise, and really want to understand that, because if you look at the NUP, this is actually the leading opposition group in Uganda today, because we do our assessments given the fact that we assess by also maybe the leading numbers of opposition members in parliament. Recently we did see the numbers dropping, but I must say NUP actually had the leading numbers. Really, I don't know what that will also show to us in 2026, given the fact that we are seeing so many calibers of wrangles happening within the opposition. And really that is why we are saying the opposition within opposition must be first dealt with, if at all maybe we are to see a very good maybe at the end that is for them in the 2026 general election. And that is why we are saying this matter is still something that we are yet following up on. And our own from Maracha also did also comment on the same matter. That is Oguzu Lee, the legislator representing Maracha County, also said the movers of the motion must prove, that is also must prove to the MPs that the shillings 1.7 billion service award was not passed by parliament before dragging into signing the motion. And that is only where he did ask the colleagues first of all to explain, and also explain to them that parliament did not also move the motion, that's for this sport to get the money in there, because that is also something that he wants to understand, because he doesn't want to engage in something that maybe he doesn't know about. And this is also where these 5 legislators have to prove that is beyond reasonable doubt, so that also really he can be able to now also side with them. I don't know what that means, but we are yet following up on that. And really we want to see this matter be ended very quickly, and also really be put aside, because this matter has been there, and this is actually one of the matters that shaped also what some people were thinking about, the way that we have also been talking about the agenda, which has already been set to this matter over the different also media platforms across the country. Over time, this has been the same topic. Really, how and when shall we put an end to that? Because definitely this is going to have an implication, be it directly or indirectly. And the motion to censor the commissioners had by press time also being signed by all the 5 also MPs. But really, how best can we ensure that this matter is also dealt with? Because we want to see this matter be dealt with very quickly, so that solely nobody is left behind. I don't know you as the viewer what you think about the matter, because really this matter to me has taken long overdue. But as we get to move on with the show, looking at other topics, I really have this equation's choice of Byakagaba as IGP. It's already another story that we are seeing on this person this morning, and this is already where I must say recently we did see the country receiving a new Inspector General of Police, but really FDC has come out also to question. I really want to also inform you about that, because this is one of the stories that we are seeing on the past morning. And also this is where the Forum for Democratic Change Party has questioned the appointment of, that is Mr. Abbas Byakagawa, as the Inspector General of Police, because recently we did see also the same gentleman also really quitting, and we are now seeing him bouncing back. What does that mean? And Mr. Byakagawa, who has been recalled from retirement, replaces that is Martin Ochola, who was also really retired from the first 2 months ago. And this is already something we are seeing now, him being able to be replaced in there. And the FDC spokesperson, that's Mr. John Chikonyogo, told journalists also as the party head at the party headquarters in Najanankumbi that Kampala yesterday had President Museveni's decision that's to appoint also a retired police officer is a vote of no confidence in the serving officers. And really, I don't know what that means, because really we still have also people who are serving yet, but now others have gone. That definitely also should tell us maybe something. But for now, let's have this short commercial break as we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The search for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
Well, earlier on, we were talking about FDC also really doubting the appointment of, that is, Byakagawa as the IGP, citing also really mistrust, also really lack of confidence in what we call the serving officers, because we are seeing somebody who retired earlier on and also really being retired, also being returned back. What does that mean? Definitely, FDC is saying this also really shows and portrays that there's no confidence in serving officers, and that is why we are seeing also really a retired officer being returned. Definitely, that is something also really we did see FDC talking about, and the FDC also condemned the appointment that's of Frank Mwesigwa as what we call the Directorate of Police Operations, saying he was involved also in the arrest of the then presidential candidate, that's Robert Kyagulanyi, which led to riots also in Kampala that led to the death of more than 50 people. So they are saying that this man also does not deserve to be appointed in there. And Mr. Chigonyogo said the returning him for deployment operations is one of the also strategies that is allegedly to distract the 2026 general elections, because this person now has that history of what we call also attempting, also threatening to destroy also the process, and that is why they are showing also no trust also in these appointments, and that is one reason also we did see FDC very much also talking on there. But I don't know what you think as the viewer, but you also can still share your opinions on your ideas maybe on what you think about these appointments. Are these the rightful people, or maybe these people needed to be other people, because we have seen these positions, because these positions cannot be able to remain vacant at the end of the day. If at all somebody's term of office is coming to an end, maybe if somebody's age to retire also clocks, they have to go and rest. But really, this is where we also saw a lot of controversies. But I don't know what you as the viewer thinks, but really you can also still share your opinions. That is on our various also media platforms, and we shall be able to slowly come back and read through, and that is something which I must also remind you of. And now let's move on and look at the camp of UPC, where also UPC's Ochieno is awaiting that is court ruling 38 months later, and this is something also we are seeing on the paper this morning. Shall it be that end also to get justice in there? Definitely, I do not know, but Mr. Joseph Ochieno, one of the UPC protagonists in the three-way fighters for the leadership, that's of the Uganda People's Congress, has sent a protest. Also note that the principal judge, that is Miss Flavia Zenja, also raising also concerns about delays of the judiciary in also disposing of his case. He filed also for judicial review in there, challenging also the outcome of the party's December 2020 elections. And Mr. Ochieno filed that is for 3 reviews on March 17th of 2021, but the matter, which was also meant to be also disposed of within 6 months, has been also subject of several adjustments and relocations. That's different judges over the last 38 months, and developments also to which Mr. Ochieno is now also taking exception. And this is something also we are seeing on the first morning. And according to suit documents that also his publication also has seen, this also case also for judicial review was also filed following the election, which saw Kampala lawyer, that is Mr. Peter Walubiri, declared winner in there. And this is something also we did see happening, where Mr. Walubiri was sworn in as party president on December 28th of 2020, where Mr. Ochieno brought also a declaration that he was also elected president of the party, and an injunction retaining Lira municipality and MP Jimmy Akena from parading and presenting himself as the president, that's of Uganda Congress Party, and also the occupied occupying what we call the party's headquarters, that is at Uganda House in in his December 2017 2023 letter, that is also to the Justice Zaija or Mr. Cheno, argues that the court's delay to hear the matter has also not only left the party without legitimate, but also suggest a possible conspiracy by people and institutions that he did not name. And this is something also we did see, because he did also really express that is mistrust of, and they also really expressed that conspiracy could be happening, that is also within the party and maybe by some people, which also he didn't mention in there. However, Mr. James Jumire Eremie, the judicial spokesperson, dismissed talks of conspiracies against also UPC in there. And this is something we did see, and the court documents also indicate that the case was also first allocated, that's Justice Philip Odoki, with also hearing set for July 14th of 2021, but also was adjourned following the decision by the government to place also a country under nationwide lockdown of the COVID-19 also in there. And this is something also we did see also happening in there. And the hearing was then set, that's for February 23rd of 2023 also, but the parties also told that this was not a mistake, and this did not also happen as planned. And this is where the man is now seeking justice and really is saying this matter is taking long overdue. But the whole background to this matter is, if maybe somebody is interested in knowing, I must remind that this is also the latest development in the series of twists and turns solely from a script that has been playing, that's out the UPC since 2015, when the party also sought to organize an inclusive election exercise where also results in the declaration of Jimmy Akena as the party presence also went on. And this is where we did see Justice Nyanzi of the High Court subsequently also declared Mr. Akena also the election null and void, and the court also dismissed his appeal, that is also in September 2020, and this is something also where we did see 3 years where the matter is still going on. But really, how shall we be able to put this matter to an end? Because we want to understand that also this matter is taking long overdue, and this matter also somebody out there could feel that it needs to be addressed timely. But really, I do not know. I'm yet following up on this matter, and I will be able to solely express and still say that we want to see this matter be addressed timely. And this is something we shall be able to keep you updated on if at all any development arises in line to that. And now let's look at what is happening in NUP, as the party also recently announced that they are going for the second round of their tours. And I really want to say the first rounds ended, and West Nile actually benefited from that, where we didn't see the party principal, that is also Robert Chagulanyi Center, moving up to Arua, and there's other areas where we didn't see a number of leaders also being attracted to that. And now we are seeing also the second series returning, where National Unity Platform Party have also disagreed following also the pronouncement of the second round of the tours. And this is something also I want to say is likely to also bring a lot of issues, because police has not also permitted, because for this maybe what people have termed to be rallies or campaigns, maybe if that to go on without also notice and also the permission of the police, we may likely see tear gas, we may likely see lives lost, which I must say is very, very bad. And this is where the police have also again swung into action and also have warned the new rounds of the consultative meetings and mobilization strategies that is already being conducted by the National Unity Platform Party also ahead of this journey here. And this is something also where we are saying this matter must be addressed timely, where NUP also announced over the weekend that they will also resume their nationwide tour and consultative meetings also starting with the Kamuli district, which is also on Wednesday. And this is something also which did not go on well. I really want to say what NUP needs to be doing at this time is they must also ensure that they first of all engage the security agencies, as well that solely at the end of the day this matter does not bring bloodshed, because we want to avoid bloodshed like how we saw maybe during the recent years. And this is something also at the end of the day which I must say which to me needs to be addressed timely in there. And the inquiry would be that also then take across the country after also the Palisa in there, then it will be able to move to Bugwere, it will be moved to Palisa, it will be moving to Tororo, Mitiana and Mukono, Masaka, Chotera, and not forgetting areas of Zombo, Koboko, Sembabule, Achiruhura, Bushenyi, Rukunjiri, Gulu, and later Pader. And this is according to the new also roadmap in there, what they are planning to do. That is also where the tours, which are planned also as part of the preparations for the forthcoming 2026 general elections, which would also conclude with Kitgum district next also in there. And this is something also we are seeing on the past morning, but Mr. Fred Enanga, the police spokesperson, that is also Yes, yesterday told journalists that the force suspended also the NUP tours last year after the party also breached several of the guidelines issued also by the police in there. And this is already where Anang also commented about the same matter, because recently maybe these national platform officials did not abide by in the first round, and this is where the second round may also really come as a difficulty and may be different also to implement in there. But what we are saying is to avoid also the rift, we must also ensure that we work within the boundaries of the law, and this is where we are saying, if at all any of the parties is to also ensure that any of maybe this activity goes on, we must respect what we call the issued guidelines and also the laws in place, because we have so many laws that in place to also guide and guide our behaviors. First of all, the mother laws and other laws that also guide the Electoral Commission, because we have a whole law that is of the Electoral Commission Act, which is already there to guide that is already such activities. And the police spokesperson that is also said they stand also by last year's ban on the meetings until some also the issues are rectified by the opposition political party in there. And in September last year, if you remember, during the NUP also campaign rally in Hoima district, we did also see Norman Mugisha, a NUP supporter, also reportedly perished in a convoy accompanying that's National Platform Party, Robert Chagulanyi in there. And the accident also left 10 others with injuries, and this is something also why maybe police wants to avoid, and that is also why they are saying in an interview also this public, the NUP also saying NUP is set to continue with their second round of countrywide consultations, and that's also where the party principal is assuring of, and they really feel that also this exercise needs to go on as planned, and that's certainly something where we shall be able to keep on following. And last year also NUP toured several places, and this is only where we did see the party principal together with other leaders moving to Mayuge. They moved to Busia, they were in Mbale, they went to Mbarara, and also the Kasese, not forgetting Kabale. They were actually here in Arua City as well, and also they also moved to Luero, and this is something also where we did see happening also, and we did see also among others also where thousands also turned up to hear the message, because these areas attracted also the NUP supporters from all over also maybe the neighboring areas. And this is something also where we did see, and they really say we are now following up on. We do not know maybe how the second exercise will be able to go. However, their mobilization faced a setback also as they were in their consultative meeting, where the police banned tours, saying National Platform Party have deviated from what they agreed upon, and this is also where the issued guidelines so we are not followed maybe. And the police press statement also signed by the then Deputy also Inspector General of Police to Musime Katsigazi also said they couldn't allow NUP tours also to go on because Chagulanyi had allegedly also attacked President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in his tours, which was also something that they agreed not to go on. And this is something also we shall be able to keep you updated on, and we want to see maybe until when this matter shall be able to be addressed, because if at all we are saying people must come for these rallies and do not also do this or that, people must ensure that they abide by that. But in most cases where we are seeing people not also maybe and listening to these concerns, maybe these issued guidelines, then it becomes unfortunate, which also leads to what we have seen over the years. And really, this is one thing I must say, which also must be respected. And what the law also says, somebody may be interested in what exactly laws that we are talking about. And if you look at Article that is 32, which subsection 1 of the Uganda Police Force Act, which is of 2006, we are saying it gives power that is already to police to regulate also the assemblies and processions. And this is why maybe these people also have to first of all seek that permission from police, and that is why we are saying also that must be respected. And looking at the Public Management Order Act, that is of 2013, which says also organizers of public meetings must give notice also to also in writing, that is to police also before they go, or that's 15 days before the also the event in there. That's also what the Public Management Order Act is saying. And in relation to also the subsection 31, also section 31, that is of the police also the act in there. And this is something also we are saying must also be addressed in there, because at the end of the day, what we are interested in that is that this matter needs to be addressed timely in there. And in case you as the viewer is just joining us, we are just left with some few minutes, that is to 8 o'clock, and that will also summarize our first hour, which will also be ushering us into the second hour. And in the second hour, we are expecting a guest, and we are going to be discussing lots of issues of your interest, and that is why we are saying just stay locked as we get to continue with the show. But as we get to move on with the show, remember so many issues continue to happen, and we are seeing also Makerere University set to investigate speaker in law exam, and this is really something that we are seeing on the paper this morning. I don't know what that means, that really, but I shall be able to really keep you informed. And just to also really keep you informed, Makerere University institution has also really has an investigation to conduct also a School of Law, a second semester also the examination that paraded the Speaker of Parliament, and this is something we are seeing on this first one. And it has also been, and information also indicates that this Vice Chancellor Barnabas Nwangwe last week also asked the University also the Senate for guidance on the conduct of examining also students using a deeply satirical essay that is also said to have also raised the concerns. And this is something also we are seeing on this morning. And the principal also of the School of Law, Ronald Naruaro, also is understood also to have also admitted the concerns that, but defended the conduct also of the examination course until also left lot 1, 2 also 2-1 principles of the Constitution of Law also in there. The first year students is and in the second semester also wrote on May 11th in there. But really, how can we ensure that this also such concerns that also maybe make people raise concerns is addressed? And he also protested the directive of investigative examinations, calling it also an onslaught on academic freedom and very regressive in there. And this is something also we are seeing on the morning. But really, how can we ensure that such matters do not also really continue to go on? As students, we are also asked in relation to also discuss all the constitutional law issues raised in the fixtures essay, as well as it is also critically assessed the implications that is of the directives such as by the president, that is on the rule, that's the rule of law, democratic governance, and also constitutionalism in there. And these are things only we are seeing on this first paper this morning. But really, how can we ensure that such matters also really do not also get out of hand? And how can we ensure that at the end of the day that these matters also play a critical or vital role? And that is already quite important. And now let's move on and let's now do something about crime, maybe where the Katanga murder is already something that has been there. Recently we did also see the lady applying for bail, and really we have also gotten to understand that she has been denied bail again, and this is for the third time now. And Molly Katanga, the woman we are talking about, the widow of slain businessman, that is Henry Katanga, has been also denied bail again for the second time, and the 55-year-old who is suffering from also the illnesses that is also identified as nasal sinuses, not forgetting vertigo, breast masses, and hypertension, has been sent back, that is on remand, as she awaits trial for the alleged also really murder of husband in there. The renowned businessman also really succumbed to a gunshot to his head on November 2nd, that is 2023, and there is that at Mbuya Road in Kampala in there. This is really where we did see this murder also happening in there. But who exactly murdered this businessman that we are talking about? And High Court Judge Isaac Mutuata declined to grant his widow bail, citing also the serious charge of murder. Additionally, the judge also said that he presented the same medical condition in her first unsuccessful bail application in there. This is something also we did see. But really, how shall we see an end to this also matter? These are the questions really we are asking ourselves. And despite also the detailed medical reports and recommendations from multiple specialists, we did see Justice Mwata also appeared in this regard to the gravity of health issues, because really we did see these issues happening. And really, when shall we put an end to that? These are things really we want to see, and at the end of the day also will be addressed, because this would maybe this widow, because if you on remand before court declaring you maybe guilty, you are still innocent, and that's where you have to be proven beyond reasonable doubt. And that is why we are saying people must not take the issues of taking the laws in their hands. For instance, also really where somebody has been murdered, you see people running very much to also murder them. What if it is not the people maybe that are behind the killing? And this is where we are saying people where the masses must also ensure that they do not take the laws into their hands. And that is something I want to remind you of at the end of the day. And despite detailed medical reports and recommendations, this lady has been denied also really bail again. And maybe when was the first time this woman who asked for bail? And if you remember, on February 8th of 2024, at the request of her lawyers, Molly Katanga underwent examination to determine whether her also condition wanted her to also really stay in prison or out. And the examination also really was conducted by a team of specialists. That's also really the doctors from Lago National Referral Hospital, with the resident doctor of Machison Bay Hospital present. And the information also really was submitted in court during the first bail application, but really which was also rejected, and that also led to the second bail application, where we did see also in her second bail up hearing, Molly Katanga's defense lawyer, that's Peter Katabazi of Kampala Shield Advocates, presented finding also from a follow-up medical evaluation conducted that is on April 2012, also by medical officers at Luzira Women's Prison, that revealed that she had not received the treatment as recommended. That is already in treatment plan, that is Mulago National Referral Hospital. In that medical reports also from Luzira, where doctors already examined her, stated that they could couldn't handle her health complications, and that's only where they referred for her to go on maybe elsewhere. But really, this is something also we did see happening. But really, how at the end of the day shall we put an end to that? Because we want to see this matter be addressed, because if at all this is not also really maybe happening, we could be infringing first of all on her rights, because we also want to see that this matter is addressed also really in there. Now let's look at that, let's leave that aside. Let's move back to West Nile in Nebi district, where a 21-year-old woman, on a sad note, was electrocuted and solely while mopping her shop yesterday. And this is something where I must say is quite unfortunate, where a 21-year-old woman also was electrocuted on Tuesday at Early Park also event management store, where she had reported also for work. And this is quite unfortunate, because for somebody who is not begging, for somebody who is not getting angry for boys' money, maybe for men's money, really maybe in exchange for this one, that is somebody who is focused maybe to hustle for her own needs, for them also to just die like that really brings a lot of pain to me, because today we have so many women. I'm not attacking them. For those who may feel offended, I'm sorry, but really what I'm saying is that today we have quite a number of ladies who are not willing to work, who really feel that also they need to also continue disturbing the young men or the men or out there for their monies. And that is why we are saying people must ensure that they work for the monies that really they want. And that is why at the end of the day, ladies also really, who have not been able to work. Today we have so many initiatives coming up where ladies are employed. First of all, saloons, maybe in catering activities, where ladies must up with that. But in most cases, we are seeing a section of the women and ladies also really who are not interested in working. For them, they feel begging from, I want to call it begging, yes, it is begging from also the men or boys out there is the way to go. But really, to me, isn't really the right way to go, where we are saying people must also really ensure that they work hard for their monies. And really for such a woman just at the age of 21, who has also just recently concluded also senior 4, who has been working to also ensure that she raises money for her next level of education, really to die in electrical execution in their field. I feel very bad about it, because at the end of the day, really I want to say these are matters that I really want to say needs to be addressed, because if at all that does not happen, and then definitely we may see so many of these activities happening, and likely we may also really see at the end of the day so many of these activities going on. And these are things also I want to say where we also have to be very much careful. And for those who are doing the wirings, please let's ensure that the wirings do not pose a risk first of all to the lives of people who are going to be working in these places, because it's not the very first time we are seeing a person being electrocuted. And this is not the very, I believe, not the end, but really how can we ensure that this does not go on? This is my concern to the electricians, or the people who are disguising as electricians, because we have quite a number of people who claim that they're electricians, because really I feel that area is actually one that needs to be regulated, because today we have somebody after just 2 months of apprenticeship, he or she feels that he has learned enough, and that is why we see them also disguising and masquerading first of all as electricians who are qualified, moving on with the umbrellas, moving on with the aprons, definitely also carrying on the helmets. And really where people think that these are the right people, I really want to say these are issues that also we need to talk about, because today we have so many quacks who have been disguising and masquerading as also what we call electricians and taking advantage of the masses. And really at the end of the day, sometimes we have seen their works also really causing danger and also leading to loss of lives and property in there, because we have seen houses burning. And where there is also maybe where this also being attributed, we have also been seeing that these matters have been attributed also to the concern first of all of what we call poor wiring. And who does the wiring? It is these quacks that we are talking about. And that is why we are saying I'm not also really saying that this lady could have also really been executed as a result of poor wiring, but I really know that in most cases this is actually been the challenge. And that is why we are saying that matters really also brings pain to us. It really brings also really misery to us, because for us who love seeing people work hard, and this is also where the government of Uganda has very much been talking about socio-economic transformation, and these are the people who have been also really making the government also really realize that dream. And that is why maybe also really the young people just at the age of 21 years, really this is where we are saying this lady had a bright future, but we were mourning with the families, that's on people of, the people of Nebi district at large, because really if you look at Nebi, we are not very far from them, and Rural City is just not very far. And this is why we are saying it is a quite sad day, and really we say may the soul of this lovely young lady rest in eternal peace, because she was a hard-working lady who was actually working for her own monies in there. And really for her to just go like that really brings a lot of pain to us, but at the end of the day we continue to really mourn with her. And because at the end of the day, we also realize that the Bibles and the Qurans are very clear, and they have said that also really it is from him that we come, and so it is also really to him that we shall return, and that's also really where we have also been created from mud, and really this is also really the same thing that really, but really we continue to pray for our soul to rally maybe rest in eternal peace, and this is also really where we also pray for strength to the families, because I believe she has been supporting so many people, because today if you're working, you're not working only for yourself, you have so many people who are dependents on you, both directly and indirectly, and really for us to lose such young people who had a bright future and then bring a lot of pain to us. And really maybe somebody could be interested in who exactly that we are talking about, who lost their life in there, and really we are talking about, and according to information from eyewitnesses, that is already who say that Miss Prosia Aniro, the resident of Nebi Town Council, was electrocuted while mopping the shop, where she did not also really realize that there was an insulated wire, and she was also really a former student of Aluka Secondary School, and this is in Zombo district, and where she completed her senior 4 in 2023. And really Aluka Secondary School is actually one of the schools in Zombo district where this lady has been studying, and where she completed her senior 4 just last year. Really, this is quite unfortunate, and she had been working to raise school fees for her next level of education, which is A level, or maybe branching off, that is also to the higher institution of learning. And this is where, on a quite sudden notice, where we did lose her, and really it's quite unfortunate. And Mr. Christopher Awachango, one of the first also responders also to the scene, said Aniroth was shocked when she touched also an insulated wire conducted also at the metallic stent in there. And these are things also really where we must say people must also really avoid working places also really where the wires are not properly insulated, and this is where we could lose more lives. But really we are saying it's quite sad, and it's a sad also day in there. Ms. Anewa also noted that the incident should have been avoided if the management also really detected the uninsulated wire earlier on in the room also really, which accommodates mostly the metallic tables and also really chairs in there. And these are things also really we pray for. And the Nebi District Resident District Commissioner Robert Abak also did comment on the same matter, where he attributed also the death to negligence also really of those people behind also the installation in there. And these are things really which I must say must also be respected. And the Niro's employer, Mr. Innocent Rothomio, described her as one of the hardworking people in his company, and had planned also to start training in making her in wedding cakes in there. That is also where she was interested also in taking this lady also and for that. And that is one thing also I must say at the end of the day we must also ensure that we talk about. And this is something also I want to say at the end of the day we are expecting very much from. And this is something also where I want to put up that discussion aside as we get to move on with the show. But remember, we are just 8 minutes up to 8, that's to the hour of 8, and at 8 also we are still going to be discussing lots of the issues that continue to happen. And really, if I can be able to now remind you of, let's now look at where machete wielding men have been also netted in there. And this is also another story that we are seeing on the paper this morning, where machete wielding men have been netted in there. And these are people who have been terrorizing society, and for them to be netted like that, we appreciate the police and we appreciate the other security agencies, because for this sport to be apprehended, definitely it shows that there was also collective efforts also by the different security agencies in there. And the 27-year-old man who was filmed also armed with a machete and the hammer attacking also the customer at a milling farm in Atete Rubaga division, also in an attempt to rob him, has been remanded at Lizira government prison. And this man, identified as Ashraf Kiza, a machine also operator, that's at Bashir Milling Investment in Atete also Rubaga division, was on Tuesday arraigned before court, that's in Mwanga Second Magistrate Court, and charged with aggravated robbery and attempted murder in there. And Kiza was traced and arrested from Chotera district, where he had escaped. That's also days after 13th May incident. That's where he was caught on a camera attacking also one of the persons who had come to withdraw money in that. The presiding senior principal grade 1 magistrate, that is already identified as Adam Biaruhanga, did not allow also Kiza to plead that to the judges, and saying his court does not also have maybe where he can be also be hard, because it was evident enough. And the presiding also principal grade 1 magistrate Biaruhanga did not also allow Kiza to plead the charges, saying his court does not also have the jurisdiction to handle capital offenses. And that is already where we did see that matter also going on. And prosecution case also indicates that it's May 13th, also in 2024, in Natete Mirembe zone, that's Rubaga division, Kampala. We did see Kiza also already armed with the machete and hammer, attempt also to rob, that is one summon to Riamwanga, that is shillings 2 million. And this man also alleged that this man, also Kiza, had promised to give him money, and that's something really we also saw happening in that. Mr. Turiamuha was later rushed to hospital for treatment after a case was already reported in Natete police post in there. And this is as far where the man first of all attempted also really him, and this is where we are saying really the greed for money, this need for quick money is very, very bad, and that is why we are saying as young people we must desist from that tendency. We must also really live also really this instance where maybe this also behavior of wanting to get money quickly in there, which may also lead us into trouble, maybe in criminal activities, which are just like our colleague here, because he is still a youth, and just like me, I'm also still a youth, and that is why I am speaking on behalf of us all. We must desist from tendencies of wanting quick money, but rather also we must embrace what we call hard work, maybe working as casual laborers, maybe tapping into those opportunities. Politics is coming. As young people, by the way, we still have the opportunity. We can still engage in that, and it's still possible, maybe as youths, to also engage into that, and that is why we are saying, despite us maybe leaving ourselves all out, we must ensure that we also get maybe in active activities that may also lead us into where we want to go on. But maybe getting engaged in business, which to me also could be an opportunity where also the young people maybe of that caliber who are in need of quick money can also be able to get engaged in. But really we are saying the behavior and the desire for quick money amongst the young people must be stopped, because if at all it's not stopped, we are likely to see ourselves being engaged in what also these criminal activities that we are talking about. And that is also something that summarizes our topic in relation to that as we get to move on with the show. Remember, so many issues are still being also planned here, and we shall be able to keep you informed as we are just left with 8 minutes to wind up with our first hour, and this is really where we are going to be going to our second hour. And remember, in our second hour we still have very much issues prepared for you, and I really feel and also need to talk to you about. But as we get to move on with the show, now let's look at some of the story where a woman also stabs husband to death. And really this is quite also unfortunate, as the man was sleeping and the woman also stabbed that is man to death in there, and leaving the body also to rest for 2 days, and which is really quite unfortunate. And this is also really where it also reflects the inhumanity that is in the world today. But really, as somebody you claim is your husband, really what makes you to go that extent of stabbing them? This is quite unfortunate. These are things that we must avoid at the end of the day also before being caught up in there. And police in Mukono district in central Uganda are holding a 30-year-old woman on charges of murder after she allegedly also stabbed her sleeping husband to death and kept the body also in their house for 2 days, which is quite unfortunate. And this is something also I must also remind you of, as Ruth Musmenta, an employee of NJ Business Solutions, is accused of also killing James Nsubuga in the wee hours, that is of the morning on 18th of May 2024 at their marital home, that is in Katikamu village in Poma Parish, Nama sub-county, that's in Mukono district, also in there. And these are things I want to say is quite unfortunate, because you claim that I'm your man, and you know they two actually had children, and really for somebody to just come up and do that, because we are saying marriage must be for life, and really it is only death that is meant to separate people. But really at the end of the day, when we are seeing such activities happening, it becomes quite unfortunate for us to continue witnessing. And according to SCP, Senior Special Commissioner of Police Nanga, the Police Criminal Intelligence also task team picked information indicating how the suspect had planned to bury the body in also a shallow grave also near a toilet in there. But really what exactly could have led this woman to do that activity, which to me I really feel is very bad. And police did not also really divulge details about the toy pistol and the army shoes. However, Mr. Nanga condemns such acts of violence and brutality within domestic settings. Today, domestic violence, by the way, has become also a problem, and we are seeing also already this matter very much arising for different reasons. And this is where we are saying domestic violence, which is actually under gender-based violence, must also really be ending in there, because we are saying gender-based violence does not only attack women, but really in most cases when we are talking about gender-based violence, people think it only affects the women. But we are saying no, look, gender-based violence is a reality. It affects both men and women. And this is why we are saying, as a man, if you're told you are going through gender-based violence, for instance, domestic violence, do not hesitate to also report to police. So that's only police can now come in also to help. And if at all maybe police fails, definitely we are also going to ask the cultural leaders to engage, and the religious leaders. If at all they fail, that is why divorce becomes as a solution. And that's where we are saying court now has to rule that you two have to be separated, because if at all you are not separating, definitely we are going to be seeing also really such activities happening. Recently, I was here talking about a story of a businessman in Masaka who had given the woman car, but really after also really just some few period of days after them breaking up, the man came to pick up the vehicle and also threatened this woman's life. And really these are things also we are saying must not continue going on to go on in the society, because if these things continue to go in the society, we are going to be seeing a society that is really very much torn apart, and then they also have issues here and there. And that's something also I want to remind you of, because if at all that does not happen, also really we are going likely to have so many of these issues going on, which really to me wouldn't be quite well, because at the end of the day we still continue to see this matter also really being reflected on the society, and which also really mean very much a lot. And that is one thing also really which we'll also be talking about very much on, and later on we are also going to be talking about also something that we also really that should also really, help us, because we are here to help. We want to make sure that the society that we are leading as leaders, so we must make sure that we talk about these issues, because if at all these issues are not addressed, and then definitely we are likely to see so many of these cases continue to go on, and really that is quite unfortunate. And this is why we are saying, if at all the relationship is not working out, why don't we file divorce? Why don't we break apart? And this is only where the parties must accept, because if at all I'm not feeling maybe I no longer want to be with that lady, why don't I move on? This is also where the option for divorce are very much important, because if at all you are going to be living in that house with problems also really, and this also really emerge sometimes from threats where you start also really raising a lot of issues here, and you can tell that the relationship is no longer working out. And that is only why we are saying it, first of all, divorce must become an option. Is that reason where if at all the relationship is not working on? Because I do understand marriage is meant to be for life, but sometimes circumstances may not be able to allow us to continue living in those relationships. And that is why we are saying if at all the relationship is no longer working, you have the option of also living, because for your life you better leave that relationship so that also the activities of that caliber do not happen. And really that is where tragic instances must be avoided. And Musibenta will be arraigned in court on murder charges, and this is where really something I also feel I need to talk about as we get to also the second hour. We are just left about 2 minutes. That is also to wind up with our first hour. But really I want to also remind those who are living in bad relationships where you need to also open up, because if you do not open up, then definitely we are going to be seeing such activities also really happening. And this is also something also I want to remind you of as we also get to go on with the show. And remember, the census exercise is still going on, where we are already into the extension of the 6 days. But the question you should be asking yourself is that, have you been enumerated? Have the enumerators come to your home? Have you seen them? How many have you seen do work? And this is all the questions that also we are asking ourselves this morning. But information from UBOS indicates that the enumerators won't be paid for the extra days. And really I don't know what that means to you as enumerators, because initially you were supposed to be working for 10 days. That is also really from 10th, that is 19th, but we did see extension of more days by 6 days. Now we also see Uganda Bureau of Statistics, the body mandated that is to undertake this exercise, saying that they are not going to be also paying for these days. And Uganda also, the information also from there, which comes in latest indicators, and will not be paid for the 6 days. And this confirmation was made by the Deputy Executive Director of UBOS, Mr. Geoffrey Nabongo, during also the revelation on May 20th while addressing journalists in Kampala. And UBOS on May 19th announced that they have extended the census exercise, that's to enable enumerators who face challenges in also doing their work to also complete the days within the stipulated period of time in there. But this edition now also has been also rectified that they will not be paid. And Nabongo also rallied all local governments also to use the extra days to complete also the census exercise in there. And the enumerators we are paid between that daily allowance, that's of 50,000, bringing to also the shillings, bringing the days to total, that's the shillings 500,000 for 10 days. And that's also something where we did see the enumerators also doing their work. And that means also after getting their monies, very soon we are likely to see done enumerators. And this is also where we are saying the 6 days are not counted for. If at all maybe you are thinking of more monies, definitely that also information has been made. And that also does bring us to the end of the first hour. And this is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV. My name is Farish Majid, and this is West Nile TV channel 477 on Star Times and online across all our social media platforms. For now, let's have this short commercial breather, and when we bounce, we shall be able to continue with the conversation from there. Stay tuned. We are coming back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics would like to remind the general public that the National Population and Housing Census 2024 enumeration exercise, which began on Friday 10th May 2024, will go on until 19th May 2024 at 11:59 p.m. Heads of households that have not been enumerated yet and are normally away during day are encouraged to contact their LC1 chairpersons and give them indications of when best they can be enumerated before the end of the exercise. The public is further informed that the questionnaire is translated in 21 local languages and numerators have been selected in such a manner that they will be able to administer the questionnaire in such a language that the respondent is familiar with. The public is assured that everyone will be counted by the end of the numeration exercise. Census 2024, it matters to be counted. This message is brought to you by Dr. Chris Mukiza, the Executive Director, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and the Government of Uganda.
The search for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, a very good morning, and you are most welcome back to the KOKOLIRIKO live show. And as you can see, we have been joined by a guest. He is none other than Amaga Bernard. He is the HIV focal person for Arua City, and he also doubles as a senior health educator. And really, you're most welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, moderator.
It could be your first time this year. Last year, I remember you were here about the same topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the first time here this year, and last year I had an opportunity
Okay.
so to come here and talk to my listeners.
Okay. It's a great pleasure having you on board this morning, and we are looking at the HIV prevalence. Recently, we did see an engagement where the rates of HIV were announced across the country. I don't know where we started as Arua City, but really, according to information, we did see the prevalence rates also stood at about 4.4 something, which I must say is quite high, and really, you will be able to explain to us and what exactly that means, on maybe how many people on daily basis, and that is already something we are going to be also analyzing, because HIV by the today remains a great concern, and really we are saying also characterized with so many issues ranging from stigma and also really other issues here and there. We also really want to see maybe that also really being identified, because if you look at Arua City, we are standing at that's 4.4%. If you look at also Adjumani is standing at 2.4%, as Arua district is standing at 2.4% as well, and Koboko also really is standing at 1.3%. Madiokoro is 2.3%, also 2.0%. Maracha is at 1.0%. That is in terms of also new infection. And now let's zero it back to Arua City, and if you look at the new HIV infections that's in Arua City, that is on daily, and that means also really Arua City is receiving, that is 390 new infections. Is this only the ones that are being registered, or also the ones that are not registered are also inclusive of this number that we're talking about? You're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. You see, when you look at, first of all, we need to look at the national picture of HIV prevalence. Of course, we are talking about West Nile, but West Nile is part of the national, part of the country. Now, currently, nationally, we stand at 5.2% HIV prevalence. That means out of every 100 Ugandans, at least 5 of them are actually HIV positive. And then when you look at the West Nile prevalence, by the West Nile is one of the districts with the lowest prevalence, which stands at 2.8. The lowest one is actually Karamoja region, while the highest being Central, and then Kigezi region, where Mbarara, and then Fort Poto are the highest prevalence. But as you rightly said, in Arua City, the HIV prevalence stands at 4.4%, and then those other districts within West Nile, of course, have the lowest prevalence. And mainly, when you know the city is a place that with so many activities.
Okay, really, I don't know what you do to assess the prevalence rates, but we want to understand what exactly is that prevalence rate we're talking about, because somebody could be hearing the word prevalence, the high or the low rates. We want to make an understanding of that, because so many times we have been talking about HIV, and HIV is just not a new disease, and this disease has always been there. And really, the new, as we talk about virus, so many people have so many stereotypes about it, and that is why Mr. Amaga is also here. He's going to explain to us, and you as the viewer, if at all you have any question in relation to what we are discussing, you should also really feel free to also still drop your comments in there, and we shall be able to really check on through and share. Maybe if Amaga will be able to respond where necessary, he will be able to respond to that. But if at all, if just maybe a compliment, we shall also really read it and share it with the rest of the viewers. But really want to make an understanding of that. We want to ensure that we are living maybe in a world that is free from HIV, because if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, one of them is actually to end HIV by the year 2030, and we are just left with about 6 years to that. I don't know, maybe as a nation, as the world, how related we are that, because that pronouncement was made during the UNESCO conference, where also really it was also really said that by 2030, the world also needs to be in a world that is free from HIV. But I don't know how prepared we are and what exactly we need to do, because I believe if at all we abide by maybe the issued guidelines in place, it is still possible. There's a possibility of us maybe attaining that, but you'll be able to maybe explain to us what that exactly means. How ready are we as the world, that is to end HIV by 2030 today, because we're in 2024. That's some 6 years into that.
Yeah, thank you so much. When you look at the global target, which says by 2030, new HIV infections must end. Now, when you look at where we are right now, as a country, we have not yet even reached the 95% target that we are supposed to achieve. Now, when you look at the global target and then also the national target that we are working on, it is that 95% of the population of Ugandans, so they know their HIV status. And out of those who know their HIV status, 95% of them should be put on treatment. And 95% of those put on treatment should have their viral loads suppressed. Now, this therefore means that as we comp out the population and everyone who is infected is put on treatment, means, and their viral loads get suppressed, means that we will not have any people within the population who are transmitting the HIV. Now, this is where the challenge comes. In the country, it is estimated that we have 1.4 million HIV positive people living with HIV. But out of this 1.4 million, about 200,000 of them are not on treatment. That means they're outside there doing what? Transmitting this virus. Now, that is where the biggest problem is. So, if we have to intensify testing services, and then educating people within the community, we will be able to pull out all those 200,000 people and put them on treatment so that their viral load gets suppressed. Now, that is where the challenge is. Now, another challenge comes in the area of linkage. Now, all those who are tested positive are supposed to be linked to treatment. Now, once they are linked to treatment, they are supposed to be retained for at least 1 year. Now, it is believed that when somebody is retained on treatment for 1 year, this person gets an opportunity to get his or her viral load suppressed. Now, anybody whose viral load is suppressed actually does not have 0 chances of transmitting this virus to somebody else. This means that your infection remains with you. You do not give it to another person. Now, one of the reasons why we are failing to retain people on treatment is because of some of the things that we are going to discuss. Stigma, failure to declare, non-disclosure. You find that somebody knows that he or she is HIV positive, maybe has tested, but will not believe and accept that, yes, I have tested positive and I need to go to treatment so that I be put on treatment. Now, these kind of people who are in denial end up transmitting this virus to others. Now, these are the points the questions that you asked earlier. What are the drivers? Why are we having this kind of HIV prevalence high? Why are we having high HIV prevalence at this time? Now, some of these points that I'm going to mention are actually the main reasons why it will be a little hard for us to achieve the 2030 vision of ending HIV infection. Now, as I said earlier, some of these include what? Non-disclosure. Some of these include stigma. You find that people who are HIV positive, in some places, they are still stigmatized. Now, you find this stigma sometimes is internal. You yourself, you stigmatize yourself. You say, I am now positive, I am maybe useless, how can I go for services? People will end up seeing me, and yet people are not actually concerned, okay? People are not concerned. There are so many people who are living with HIV, okay, and are living normal lives because their viral loads are suppressed. Now, you yourself, as an individual, if you stigmatize yourself, then what will the community do? Obviously, you will also have a similar stigma at the community level. And then another driver is, you see, there is what we call transactional sex. Now, this brings me to KPs, what we call the key populations. Now, under the key populations, we have, these are groups of people who are at high risk of getting HIV infection than others.
Who are these groups?
This includes the commercial sex workers. We call them now transactional people who do sex for benefits of money and so on. And then the fishmongers, the long distance truck drivers, and then people who inject medicines. So you find that they are at a higher risk of getting these viruses compared to others.
Talking about medicines, people who inject medicines, maybe what medicines are you talking about here? Because
see,
I don't understand that some people use drugs. These are the drugs that are prohibited, and they have to inject it. And in most cases, we see them sharing the syringes. Exactly.
There are drugs of addiction. Okay. Now,
are they also part of what we're talking about?
Yes, because they contribute. They contribute heavily to the transmission of HIV. Now, when you look at people who inject drugs, Now, the biggest problem is that they use the same syringe for these injections. By the way, in Arua City, we have these people. Around San Siro here, we have these boys. We have mapped, by the way, 37 hotspots within the city where we meet some of these people and give them the services. Because if you don't give them the services, they are going to continue transmitting this HIV. Now, you asked me what are these drugs. Now, you find that, first of all, there are some of the drugs that they chew. Okay? For example, the mairungis, the opiums which they smoke. There's also nowadays this one that we call azangi. Okay? It is actually a plant that is poisonous, and when it is taken, it just causes some hallucinations. It makes you feel high, and that is what they like. Now, among the drugs that are injected into the bloodstream, by the way, some of these drugs are actually medicines that are used in the hospital for managing pain. These are restricted medicines that are supposed to be prescribed under the instruction of the medical officer. But these boys find their way of getting these medicines. Now, these medicines actually are manufactured, okay, using opium. You know, opium is a raw material for making some of these medicines. So now, when these children get these medicines, they inject it directly into the bloodstream, and it makes them feel high. So some of them get access to cocaine, others get access to heroin, and then some of them you find them sniffing this petrol, aviation fuel. All these are drugs. But of course, the biggest issue here is that those who inject the drugs, you find them using the same syringe. Actually, HIV prevalence among those who inject drug is about 37%. Okay. Okay. So that is very high. Okay. Now, another issue with that is that in case they run out of the medicine, you find that they will extract blood, okay, from the body of one of them who has already injected, because of course the medicine is already circulating in the blood. They will withdraw that same blood and inject on their own body. So this becomes a very easy vehicle for the transmission.
Looking at the release which was done by Uganda AIDS Commission recently, that is of the HIV situation in West Nile, Arua City stood at 4.4%, and the new infections we are said to be around 390, and this actually sparked public outcry and debate amongst the people, more so the youth. And I really want to understand how we stand as Arua City. Why the alarm? Maybe why did people actually come up with a debate? Because so many people are talking about the same matter, and where some people are blaming the other sex, others were blaming the other gender for this and that. Why the public outcry? Maybe why the public debate on that matter? And how do we stand as Arua City?
Of course, you know HIV new infections are coming up each and every time. Okay, like last quarter alone, we had 279 new HIV infections. That was I was compiling a simple data that was between July last year and December. You see, 279 new infections. That was quite high. This therefore shows that within our city we are having new HIV infections that are going on. People are getting infected every day. Now, this contributes to the national prevalence. Maybe earlier on you had asked me what is prevalence. Okay? Now, prevalence is the number of people who are infected with a particular disease out of the total population. Okay? Now, prevalence can be got through estimates. Okay? Whereby Ministry of Health usually does their annual estimates, but above all, prevalence is got through surveys. Okay? Like for example, a survey can be done in Arua City whereby they will test maybe 1,000 people at random. You pick 1,000 people, you test them for HIV at random. Now, out of these 1,000 people, how many of them are HIV positive? Okay? So calculations are done here and there, and it will finally give you the prevalence, the number of those who are tested positive out of number of those who are tested. But it must be done in a survey for you to generalize, for you to say this is the prevalence of Arua City. Then the population that is subjected to the test has to be scientifically calculated, and it has to be large enough.
Okay, amidst all these campaigns that we have seen the government of Uganda rolling out, for instance, the Yambala For Me, which was also recently released, where people have been told to wear condoms, and then the Obulamu campaigns, which have often been running their own media, maybe what is not happening? Why is that the HIV rates still keep on going up amidst all the several campaigns where people have been told, first of all, to wear condoms, secondly, they have been urged to be faithful to their partners, but we still see the infection rates going up, and each and every day we are seeing the numbers going up. What exactly is not happening?
You see, behavior change is a process. When you look at the Mayambala campaign, it was aimed at changing people's behaviors towards protection. It was not only protection against HIV, but it also protection against wearing helmets, because when you get accidents, you can injure your head.
Because the slogan of the whole campaign is "Wear for me."
Wear for me. Okay, wear for me means that at least for my sake, put on what? Put on condoms for the case of HIV. Now, wear for me. If by any means you risk your life, and you go into an activity with somebody whose status you don't know, at least wear for me. Think about your family members. Think about your children. Okay. Let at least protect yourself for their own sake, because the moment you get this HIV, now there are socio-economical challenges that you are going to face, okay, and then also there are stressful situations that family members can go through. Now it ends up affecting everyone, not only you, even your family members. So this therefore means that if you really want to do your best for your family members, protect yourself. Always think about them. Now, some of the drivers, what we call drivers, some of the reasons why this HIV is not ending soon. Of course, I have talked about stigma, non-discrimination, and then there are these things of multiple sexual partners. You find people are still engaged in multiple sexual partners, despite the fact that we are continuously letting them know that HIV is around, and people are continuously getting new infections. And then we have this transactional sex that is going on, and sadly, this transactional sex is mostly among women. You find that so many young girls are into it. Now, even out of the general population who are HIV positive, you find the highest percent are actually the children between 14 years and 24 years, who are actually the drivers of this infection.
Talking about commercial sex, I have a friend who has also told me, and I'm getting to believe in that. He told me so many young girls in Arua City are today into what we call commercial sex, but they do not know that they're already into prostitution, because they feel the prostitutes are the ones that stand on the roads, which may not be the case. But today, so many people are into maybe wanting to get money from that, and that also tells me that poverty could be a driver into this.
Exactly.
How has poverty contributed to the HIV infection rates in West Nile?
Now, when you look at poverty, you find that parents, guardians, can no longer provide the basic needs that they are supposed to provide for these children. You see, for me, I'm a parent. I have my girls, and then I have girls of my brothers, my sisters who stay around me. You find that bringing up a girl child is not an easy task. As a parent, you must pay very close attention to their needs, provide for their needs in a timely manner, pay attention to them in a timely manner, listen to them. Whatever concerns that they bring to you, you must be able to listen to it and address. Now, you find that so many parents, maybe because of poverty, are not able to provide for their children. Now, these young girls end up going to look for these kind of needs from outside. And by the way, they are also in a stage of what? This so-called teenage stage. Okay? Now, this is a stage when these young girls are also having body changes, and naturally there's that desire to get involved in sexual activities. You find that with that kind of desire, they end up being convinced easily by these older men. But I also want to, first of all, bring to your attention that out of the 1.4 people living with HIV in Uganda, actually 840,000 are female. Okay? Only 500,000 are men.
And now, what does that show?
This shows that women are more at risk.
Okay.
They are more at risk than what? Than men. And then also this also clearly tells us that the drivers, the people who are actually transmitting this infection are actually men and are not women. So when you also look at the prevalence, I think I'd mentioned prevalence earlier. We had said the national prevalence is 5.2, but out of this 5.2, you find that about 6.6% of them are actually women. Okay, 6.6% are women, and then 3.8 are men. So more than more than a half of the people who get infected are women. So that is very high. Now this is also trying to drive our prevention measures towards men.
Okay.
Now these men who are transmitting this HIV, these men who are going to these young girls, well knowing that they are positive and then maybe their viral load is not suppressed, okay, are the ones that we need to target now. We want to put our efforts on men and change their behaviors, change their attitudes towards HIV transmission, towards protection, so that we can reduce this HIV prevalence. I think last year, when I came here, I had a discussion on the prevalence of HIV among the key populations, but I think it was about 37% among female sex workers, and then about 36% among fish smokers. But from the data that was released recently, the HIV prevalence among female commercial sex workers has reduced to 31%. Okay. And then among fish smokers has reduced to 24%. This therefore means that if we target the drivers, the people who are carrying this HIV and transmitting, then chances are very high that we'll be able to lower the prevalence. So as I said earlier on, data clearly shows that it is actually men who are transmitting this virus. So our most of our intervention is now going to go towards men. Okay. We need men to change their behavior. We need men to take deliberate effort to start preventing this infection. They should always remember the Yambala for me. At least put on it for your people, for the people that you're working for.
But we have this negative stereotype amongst the young people that condom makes their stomachs swell. What can you say about that?
That
misconception has been there.
Those are the myths and misconceptions that have no basis. Okay, no scientific background. Because now how can a condom really make a stomach swell? Now the oils do not have any problem. The oils are just lubricants, okay? And some of these are water-based lubricants, okay? Of course, others are oil-based lubricants. They are just to make things a little bit smooth, okay? But they do not have any problem. Though there are some people, one or two people within the population who sometimes they react, okay? They react to some of the lubricants within the condom, or sometimes the rubber, okay? So these reactions are normal things, but they are usually mild. And when it happens, the most important thing is just to know which brand is that you're reacting to, and then next time you buy, you'll find yourself another brand. Okay. Yeah.
Talking about condoms, which I really feel is the easiest way to go, because sometimes people do not have time to go for what we call HIV testing, and the condom could actually be a solution that is to also bring down the rates. And if you look at the rates that is in Arua City, where we are talking about 300 new infections, and really the rates are standing at 4.4%, that is quite high, and that means also the disease is indeed within the society. In just 30 seconds, maybe, what message do you have that is for the person out there who is not aware of what exactly HIV prevalence rate is, as we shall be able to come back in the next 30 minutes or so? You must, maybe in 30 seconds or so, just put something small in relation to that.
Yeah, thank you. I want people out there to know that HIV is there. It is real, okay? And the moment you risk your life, you will get infected, okay? As we have already seen, the prevalences are high, and it is happening within us, within our community. Okay. Now, therefore, in case you get exposed to HIV infection, you still have a window, okay? A window for prevention. Now, we have what we call post-exposure prophylaxis. This should always be at the back of your mind. In case you get exposed and you are not able to get that partner to get his or her blood tested, just go to the nearest health center, and they will give you post-exposure prophylaxis that should be able to that you will take for a month, And at the end of the month, you'll find yourself safe.
Okay.
That will be very important.
All right, that is it in relation to that, and we are saying, if at all you have not known your status up to now, you need to rush to the nearest health facility so that also you get to know your status, because it is very, very much important for you to know whether you are living with the disease or not, because we may be having somebody out there who is not knowing that he or she has already contracted the disease, and then we may be having somebody out there who is thinking that he or she has already contracted the disease, and that could also be causing what we call stigma, and that is already where we are saying stigma must be avoided, because stigma has contributed a lot. That is already to bringing also a lot of challenges to the people who are living with HIV, and really that is why we are here. And definitely later on we still have lots more to discuss, and in case you as the viewer has something that you feel you need to ask, just feel free to drop it on our comment section, and we will be able to get through it later on. But for now, let's have this short commercial break, and we continue with the discussion later on.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The search for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makula Chika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
welcome back. We are already into our second hour of the show, and we are still continuing with the discussions that in relation to the HIV prevalence that's in Western sub-region, particularly in Arua City, where the rates stood at 4.4%, and where new infections are standing at 390, and that is already according to the expert I'm just sitting next to, is quite high, and that is one reason actually we're here. And in case you're just joining us right now, you're most welcome aboard. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd day into the month of May, and we are just left with about 8 days. That is to wind up with the discussions. But then I want to ask you, have you known your status? And that is if not, and maybe if you do not know, within the next 8 days, you should also make sure that you do that. And that is one reason we're actually here, and we want to also discuss and see how we can be able to bring down the rates. Because if you look at 2030, this is also actually the global mandate and also the global campaign where we did see the world setting also already a dream of ending HIV by 2030, and today we are already in 2024. That means that we are just left with about 6 days, but with the high prevalence rates, that also means that we may not be able to really hit that target. But really, I'm still with him, and now I was asking him, what does this 390 infections mean? Does it call for the state of alarm that like we did see maybe recently? And if yes, what should be done to avoid that?
Yeah, thank you. I must say that these 390 infections, of course, it is an alarm to us, because we expected these figures to be reducing, but we are still seeing increase in the number of new cases. Now, as a program, what we now need to do is to intensify testing services, and then telling people that they need to know their status. So as a country, we are still at 88% of people knowing their status, and yet we need what? We need at least 95%. So the target here, for us to really end this, we need to ensure that all those within the community who do not know their HIV status, they need to take a step to go and have their status known. Now, a very serious point here is that your HIV status expires every time you expose yourself. You see? Now, for example, if I know that I am HIV negative and I expose myself with somebody whose status I do not know, it means that my status has already expired. So I need to know it again. Now, it does not only stop at knowing, but continuously, people need to continue preventing this disease and ensure that they are not among the increasing 1.4 million people. That is the only way we are going to end this. Now, for us as in health, ours also starts at from the point of linkage. Now, we need to ensure that each and everyone who gets his or her HIV tests should take that deliberate effort to say that now that I am positive, I need to accept this. Okay? Now, if you accept, you have to go to the health center and get yourself linked to care. So, the medical people are doing their best. The government is doing its best to ensure that these medicines are available, and even providing more medicines for preventive purposes. Earlier on, I had mentioned about post-exposure prophylaxis. This is a golden opportunity for whoever gets exposed to take advantage of this medicine, and you get yourself, you prevent this HIV from really infecting you. So we will also ensure that all those who are put on treatment should get their viral load suppressed. Now, once your viral load is suppressed, I can assure you that your chances of transmitting this HIV to your partner is very minimal. So this issue of stigma, this issue of non-disclosure, this issue of not accepting your status is one of the serious drivers, okay, that is leading to increase in HIV infection. We had earlier on seen that the highest number is among men, is among women. So vulnerability is also a problem.
Does it mean that women are having multiple sex maybe partners? Could that be a driver?
Of course, women could, that is also one of the reasons, okay, that women could be having multiple sexual partners. But again, when you look at the death rates among people living with HIV, you find that the highest number of deaths is among men instead. Now, for women, we have about 17,000. Actually, national, we have about 17,000 deaths from HIV every year. But out of these 17,000, 63,000, 6,300 are the males. Okay. Now, a big proportion of these are men. Now, this also shows us that men are not adhering to treatment. Because if they were adhering to treatment, their viral loads would get suppressed. Now, if viral load would get suppressed, they would live what? A normal life. They would live also longer, like the way women are living. Okay? Now, the men are the ones now who are driving this HIV. They are the ones who are transmitting this. Okay? Now, you know, data does not lie. Data gives us a picture of what is happening. Then at the program level, we need to analyze it and know where exactly the problem is.
Okay.
Yes. Of course, women could be having multiple sexual partners. Also, men can also have what? Multiple sexual partners. Okay. But now the difference is, if men have multiple sexual partners, and yet they are HIV positive and their viral loads are not suppressed, maybe they are also in denial, okay? They deny that they are positive, okay? And then also maybe they are trying to escape stigmas and so on. Also because of the naturally poor health-seeking behaviors of men.
You find talking about behavior change communication, really I believe there's a lot more that we need to do. And I don't know really as behavior change communicators what we need to do about this same matter that we are talking about today. Today we have other saying, more so among people who live with HIV. It is also saying that these people have a saying that I do not want to die alone because I did not get this disease from a tree. And that is why people always want to infect the others. How can we, maybe people who love also really talking to people that in terms of behavior change also to adopt that challenge, because that mindset I really believe is actually behind the 390 new infections. Exactly. Those are the challenges. Now, behavior change, of course, we know it is a process, okay? For somebody to really adopt a new behavior, that person needs to make a deliberate effort. Within the population, we have those who adopt new behavior very quickly. They accept and adopt very quickly, and they move on. And then there are those ones. By the way, these are like 15% of the population. And then there are those ones who are what we call early adapters. You find that for them, they take some time. They take some time to accept and then change their behaviors. But sadly, the majority are what we call what? The late majority. So many, large population of the people, you have to bombard them with information constantly. You have to tell them, you have to convince them continuously to make sure they change their behavior. Okay. This, therefore, now brings us to the importance of these media, the media houses. I want to, first of all, thank you so much for having an opportunity to talk to our people. This is one of the ways that we will reach the community. We will let everyone know that they need to come and change. Of course, you know, nowadays, because of challenges here and there, resources not being adequate, little information is reaching to the community. Finally, for somebody who is getting scared of HIV, what exactly should they do to avoid this disease, maybe in just 1 minute? Because we are just left with about also 2 minutes, that is to wind up with the discussions. Number one is they need to know their status. That is the bottom line. Okay? Go to the nearest health center, know your HIV status. Go to the nearest testing point, because there are outreaches everywhere. Go and know your test status. And once you know your status that you are positive, number one is the next thing is immediately go to the nearest health center. Let yourself be linked to treatment. Okay. Once you're linked to treatment, the medicine will do its work to ensure that your viral load is suppressed. Once your viral load is suppressed, you will not transmit HIV to any other person. The virus will remain with you, and then you will lead a healthy life. And then in any case you expose yourself and you do not know the status of the person that you were dealing with, go to the nearest health center, get post-exposure prophylaxis, and then swallow the medicine for 1 month. You will be HIV negative. Okay, maybe your final words, because we're already running out of time. Yes, I want to thank my listeners, and I want to say that this is a serious matter. Much as Arua City is the city that has the lowest prevalence among all the cities in Uganda, but our worry is that the figures are rising. So we need to do our best to know our statuses and change our behaviors towards HIV, because it is there. People are getting infected every day. Therefore, take it upon yourself as your personal responsibility to ensure that you prevent it for you, for your family, and for your community. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming through and talk to the people, and really appreciate your time. And it was a great time having here with you. And now, dear viewer, that does bring us to the end of the discussion. That's in relation to HIV. I hope You watched us right from the time we began until this hour of the morning. You have at least picked something for yourself. And I really want to also say, if at all you have gotten it, then do not keep it to yourself. Rather, also extend it to the rest of the colleagues, and that could also be a source of help to the community members out. And that is why we are here. And that is also the reason as to why we say, as West Nile Television, our #1 mandate remains that to enlighten the region. And really on a sad note today, we are also going for the burial of also one of the senior also leaders of West Nile sub-region, one of the persons actually who has also inspired that region, and that is also known as Ambassador Mike Bugason, for whose burial also we shall be going on today. And he died as a result of after going a brain tumor surgery. That is in India also, where his body is now going to be laid to rest today. That is in Vara, and that is the gentleman as you can see on the screen. And he died on 13th of May 2024, and this is also where he will be also laid today. That's on also 22nd, and that's at Mvara, Kenya zone. And this is already where we are going to be going for that burial. And this is already where maybe, Amaga, what do you remember about the gentleman before you get involved in this show?
Unfortunately, I've been working out of the city. Yeah, I think for the last 7 years, I've been working with the Medical Teams International, mostly in refugee settlements. So I really do not know much about him. Okay, he was the ambassador to Ethiopia, and really we prayed for his soul to rest in eternal peace. And to the family members, we also really pray for God to give you courage, because as a person of that caliber, definitely you must know that he is not helping one person. We have maybe had so many dependents, and also today with his death, that who are not going to be having that help anymore. But really we say God will still bring more people, and that is why we are saying may his soul rest in eternal peace. And that is the grave which has also been painted by different flags, maybe the different countries. That is the flag of African Union and the flag of also Ethiopia as well, and not forgetting the one for Uganda, because he has been serving as the ambassador of the country, and also moved and also participated in so many activities where also to bring other South Africa maybe to a point, and that is also why and maybe where he will be able to be remembered for. But from us as West Nile Television, we pray for his soul to continue resting in eternal peace. From me to you, have yourselves a good day, and with that we come to the end of today's discussions. I'm out.